We operate under a deep structural assumption that the matter surrounding us, concrete, steel, bone, is solid. But test this assumption against a specific stream of Indian philosophy, and that solidity vaporizes. This is the premise of the Mokṣopāya, a massive Sanskrit text composed in Kashmir that later evolved into the Yoga Vāsiṣṭha. Its central argument is unforgiving. The physical universe does not exist. It was never created, and it is entirely absent. The text defines this state as Atyantābhāva, absolute non-existence. It is a total rejection of material reality. To describe this absolute void, the author uses a series of classical analogies. The world is a mirage, a magical illusion, or a sky city. It is as logically impossible as the son of a barren woman. To an unliberated mind, the physical world feels dense, like a diamantine mountain. But to a wise observer, the text notes, it is emptier than empty space. Our shared reality is diagnosed here as a cosmic symptom of ignorance. Measured. If the physical world is a complete hallucination, a problem immediately arises. We experience physical pain. We feel deep emotional attachments. We possess an undeniable sense of ego. The Mokṣopāya resolves this by categorizing sensory experiences not as external events acting upon a physical body, but as internal feedback loops. The mind is projecting the sensation and simultaneously projecting the body experiencing it. This shifts the focus of the philosophical investigation. The goal is no longer to navigate or manipulate an external environment. The priority is to examine the projector itself. Because suffering is generated entirely by consciousness, true liberation requires reverse engineering the architecture of the mind rather than attempting to conquer physical reality. The primary engine of this reality generation is citta, the mind. Through pure imagination, it projects the appearance of distinct forms. These formless imaginations acquire their physical boundaries and apparent solidity through a mechanism called vasana, our latent impressions and deep cognitive habits. Over lifetimes of repetition, these cognitive habits trick consciousness into believing that the separation between objects is a permanent physical law. This structural approach to cognition reveals deep ties to Buddhist Yogacara, the mind-only school, layered subtly beneath traditional Brahmanical terminology, bridging two massive theological systems. A mountain, a sprawling city, or the physical body you inhabit right now are nothing but localized, hardened habits of thought that have forgotten their own formless origin. This sets the Mokṣopāya apart from standard Advaita Vedanta. Orthodox Vedanta often compares the world to a rope mistakenly perceived as a snake in the dark. In that model, there is still an underlying objectively real base, the rope. The Mokṣopāya rejects this compromise. There is no rope. There is only the hallucination of the snake. It also diverges from the nearby traditions of Kashmir Shaivism, which argue the material world is a real, divine projection of a creator god's supreme power. This is a translated passage from the text describing creation as the jugglery of Māyā, which creates a division in consciousness into subject and object. It states explicitly that this apparent diversity is neither real nor unreal, but a long-standing illusion. This points to the ultimate doctrine of Ajātivāda, or non-origination. The universe was never born, it was never created, and it never started. If the universe was never created, human anxiety over destiny, fate, or a grand divine plan is an obsession over rules in a game that does not exist. Without a creator god and without a framework of fate, a logical gap remains. What triggered the illusion of a universe in the first place? To answer this, the text introduces the metaphor of kakataliya, the crow and the coconut palm. A crow alights on a branch, and a ripe coconut falls to the ground at the exact same millisecond. The human mind observes this and assigns causality to an entirely spontaneous, uncaused coincidence. The appearance of the universe is a kakataliya event. It is a spontaneous, arbitrary vibration of pure consciousness. It has no cause, no purpose, and holds no binding authority over human affairs. Strip away the mind and its rigid habits, and we reach the text's ultimate formless bedrock, Chidakasha, the infinite space of consciousness. Chidakasha is a paradox. It is absolutely full of pure awareness, yet absolutely empty of any differentiated objects. This passage details a threefold model of reality: physical space containing matter, the finite space of divided consciousness called citta akasa, and the supreme infinite space of undivided consciousness, chittakasa. The text concludes that these spaces depend entirely on the infinite space. In this framework, Māyā, or illusion, is not an evil external force. It is simply this infinite, empty consciousness spontaneously forgetting itself, a singular, unbroken ocean temporarily dreaming it is millions of separate waves. Curious, when an individual achieves ultimate knowledge and realizes the world does not exist, does their visual reality physically vanish? Enlightenment does not erase the visual experience of the world. The sage continues fulfilling daily duties, observing the environment as a translucent overlay. What is destroyed is not the world itself, but the belief in the world's objective reality. The enlightened individual lives as a detached observer, sitting in a theater, fully aware they are watching a cinematic projection. Recognizing reality as a dream redefines human existence. But realizing you are trapped in an illusion is only the first step. The final, vital question remains: how exactly does one break free?